Hello and welcome, guys, to the SDG Innovation Challenge 2024. My name is Eric Nianyatodo. And if you're joining us now, I would ask us all to mute ourselves if you're not speaking at this point, so that we will be able to hear all the information that we have for all of you here today. Once again, you're welcome. And like I said, my name is Eric Nianyatodo, Melting Foundation Director, bringing you the SDG Innovation Challenge 2024. If you made it this far, it means that you are one of our 50 teams or a member of one of our 50 teams that will be participating in the SDG Innovation Challenge in a few days. A little bit of information for you. We'd like to do a little bit of housekeeping before we kick off. Please make sure that you use your camera. Like I said, stay on mute when you're not speaking. I would ask all of us to stay on mute until we are ready to speak. If you want to say anything, please make use of the chat. Raise your hand if you want to share your thoughts out loud. And of course, use the Zoom reactions, use the Zoom emoticons to show us how you're feeling today. And finally, please minimize background noise whenever possible, as we are recording this meeting for others who are not able to join us to watch later. Use the Zoom reactions to bring the call to life. And I just want to mention again that this is a virtual ideation marathon. So it's important for us to know some rules, some guidelines for how we react, or how we behave with each other here on this call. Each of us is responsible for creating a positive environment as we discuss and engage in critical conversations on relevant issues. To foster a safe, inclusive, and positive space, we ask everyone to first practice curiosity, listen to learn and understand, assume positive intent, reserve judgment, manage your emotions, be open to new ideas and viewpoints, challenge your own biases and perceptions, be present, participate actively, share your thoughts, resources, and questions you may have, and of course, be respectful and courteous. Next, I want to talk about the organizing consortium that has put the SDG Innovation Challenge together for you. We have, of course, the Melting Foundation and Melting Foundation Africa that is bringing you the SDG Innovation Challenge. There are other organizations that are parts of the organizing consortium. We have Grassroots Hub, we have the SENSE organization, we have the African Youth SDGs Summit, we have Youth Advocates Ghana, Innovent Labs Africa, Tech Farm Hub, and of course, all of this is brought to you and in collaboration with the global goals, and of course, our new partners, the Challenges Group. Next, I want to show you all the beautiful people that are going to be your facilitators, that are going to be the people holding your hand through the next 48 hours of ideation. There you have myself, Eric Nianyatodo. Like I said, I'm the director of the Melting Foundation Africa. Next, we have Lars Dietzel, who is our Director of Collaborations and Transformation. And we have also Sonali Keshamuti, who is our Program Director, and Brittany Newfer, who is our Community Manager, and as well as Trifini Clara Jamati, who is the Administrative Assistant, who will be supporting all of us on this journey. Next, I would like to talk about something that is really, really important for the SDG Innovation Challenge, which is socializing the SDGs. It is important, as we are all here, you may have received a promo kit already. It is important for us to share with the world, with our communities, with our networks, what we are about to do here in the SDG Innovation Challenge. So as you can see, we have provided you with some hashtags that you could use to socialize your participation today. So before we leave this call, or after we leave this call, I want you all to go back into your emails that you may have received. If you've not received any emails, please let us know in the chat. Send us an email later. I'll provide my email in the chat. We will send you the promo kit for you to use the flyers and the graphics there to tell your community on social media about your participation today. Now we would have a first participants engager and a picture moment. I want you to take a moment to use the Zoom reactions. to show us how you're feeling on this call. How excited are you to be part of the SDG Innovation Challenge this year? Pick a Zoom emoji that you find most fitting and use it in the chats as well. I want us to go ahead and use the Zoom emoticons, use the Zoom emojis and reactions to tell us how you're feeling. And whilst you're doing that, please be inviting your team members to join us on the call. We are supposed to be about 240 participants, and we are not yet there. So please use this opportunity as well to inform your team members to join us on the call. This is very, very important. Awesome. If you like that, I promise you we have more in store for you. And at this moment, I would hand over to my colleague Sonali, who is going to take us through an icebreaker.
Thank you so much, Eric. And hello, everybody. Warm greetings from Bangalore, India. I'm zooming in virtually, just like all of you. And it's an absolute pleasure to see you all here today. And wow, what a dynamic, diverse spread we have of participants. And I'm super excited to see everything that we can do together. But before that, I think we've spoken enough as organizers until now. We've also sent you a lot of emails. So our hope as part of this onboarding session is also for you all to get to know each other a little bit, get a taste of how it's going to feel like in this innovation challenge, because all of you may be in your teams and on maybe different parts as you work on your solutions, rethink your progress so far, but you're all in this together. So we have a challenge for you all, and we're going to jump right into that. And our activity for you all to do is to discover what connects all of us together. And it's very simple. I'm going to be creating some very random breakout groups. You're going to have 5 minutes in those breakout groups with about 4 to 5 other participants, hopefully people who you've not met before and are not part of your team. And your task is to find at least 3 things that you have in common. So that may sound pretty easy because you're all in the challenge for, a specific purpose. But I'm going to say, let's put in a little twist and say that the top 3 things that you find in common should not be something obvious. So it should not be where you're from or how tall you are or your hair color, what you're wearing right now. We really want to dig deeper than that. We want to uncover those quirky or unique things about you and maybe share a little bit of a secret love or a specific food or music or a passion that you find, and the more unexpected, the better. So we hope that you find some common ground through this activity. And it's really about getting to know each other and sparking some meaningful conversations that you can hopefully continue as you remain in this challenge with us. And the final instruction is to have fun with it. You may be surprised by what you discover from your fellow participants. And with that, I'm going to quickly open the breakout rooms. I'm going to say that you will all have 5 minutes in the breakout room. And once you come back, please be prepared to share in our chat the top 3 things that you all have in common in the breakout. And we will also be inviting 2 teams to share out loud so we can also hear and see you and get a little glimpse of the excitement and energy from the breakouts. So I hope that's all good. If I can see some thumbs up in the chat, I'm ready to open the rooms. Okay, we see a couple of folk coming back. I'm not too sure if you were able to meet the top 3 similarities, and the goal is a bit steep, but we really wanted to give you the challenge, mostly for you to also get used to Zoom and get a little bit used to moving from plenary into breakouts and back. So welcome back, everybody. I think all the Zoom rooms are almost back. And yeah, no pressure if you've not been able to find 3 of the similarities, But if you have, I will request two teams to use the raise hand function that's available on the bottom toolbar to share how it was in your breakout room and what your little discussion was about. And also the rest of the teams to also share in the chat if you had a chance to interact or not. Okay, perfect. So we have Edie Bari. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Edibari. It was quite a wonderful time. We had to rush it, but we took the approach of introducing ourselves first. And then from introducing ourselves, we were able to pick some things that connected all of us together. So the first one is that our target audience is part of our target audience, we focus on children. The second one is very obvious. We are impact-driven people. And the last one is some of the projects that we have worked on in the past is targets on mental health, psychology, and things like that. Thank you very much.
Amazing, perfect. Congratulations. You've just met the first challenge of the SDG Innovation Challenge. And yes, also a open announcement that all of us are from really different world regions. English is not our first language, perhaps. So at any point, feel free to correct us if we mispronounce your names or if you would like your name to be said in a particular way. This is an open, safe environment. Yeah, it's really great to hear that. Okay, next up we have Tinashe.
Hi, Sonali and everyone. Yeah, so I think in our space, the people that I had are mostly interested in tech and also like the health side of things in Africa, tackling different diseases. And I'd like to note one thing. So there was one of our one of our members in the group that doesn't speak English. So I think maybe when assigning groups, like for non-English speakers, so that they can be able to participate and contribute, or for English speakers to be able to participate, you could maybe try to factor that in so that we don't leave other people out.
Fantastic. And thank you so much for that suggestion. Really appreciated. And yes, we will be coming up with quite some action items that we can try to make this process as inclusive as possible. Thank you, Tinashe. And yeah, unfortunately, we do not have more time to hear from other groups because we have a full packed schedule. So I'm going to request Lumen, Ronald, and Faith to post in the chat so that we can celebrate you in the chat as well. And I would hand over back now to Eric.
All right. Thank you so much, Sonali. And I would like to promise you all that you would have an opportunity to get to know each other better. They would put you on a platform. They will talk about all of those tools that we'll be using during the SDG Innovation Challenge. So if you have a lot to say, trust me, you're going to have a place to stay all of the things you want to say. But before then, I would like to take us all through some facts and figures that we've realized or that we've seen from your applications, from your projects, and from all the interactions that we've had with you so far. And this is one section of the SDG Innovation Challenge that gives me a lot of joy. So be prepared to hear and appreciate the diversity that we have in the room today, in the group, in your various teams. And like just as Tinashe said, there's a lot of diversity amongst us. So this will help us know the kind of people we are going on this journey with. So first of all, applications opened for the SDG Innovation Challenge from the 10th to the 31st of August. And for 3 weeks, we received 739 applications, team-based applications, that is consisting of 3,500 individuals. So out of the 739 applications, there were 3,500 individuals represented in those teams. This represented a 32% increase in applications and impact potential from last year. 50 selected teams have received a nod to participate in this year's 48-hour ideation marathon. And I'm happy to mention that out of those 50 teams, 50% are startups and projects that can be found in West Africa. 30% are projects from East Africa, and 20% are projects from the Southern and Central and North Africa. And 50% of the selected teams are female-led teams covering all 5 focus areas that we welcomed applications in. We have a great diverse group of participants this year. Our youngest participants, it's 16 years old. We have 241 participants from 15 countries, African countries, and a good representation of people living with disabilities and coming from underserved groups. We have at least 10 projects and startups, each representing from our 5 focus groups. So for each project that is participating in the SDG Innovation Challenge, each of them identify with at least one of our focus groups. And we have 50 projects focusing on 15 of the 17 SDGs. I would ask all to give a round of applause to ourselves in the chat, because this is a massive, massive representation of the SDGs or the SDG Innovation Challenge. So 15 of those SDGs are being tackled by your projects in this program. Then finally, collectively, we asked you all, what is your current reach? And for all those 50 startups that we have selected that are participating in this SDG Innovation Challenge, these startups have interacted, affected, benefited, and impacted about 10,000 people already. So this is the number of people you have already impacted, interacted with, or had interactions with. And just imagine the number of people you would be able to interact with or engage after the SDG Innovation Challenge, after the mentoring and incubation phase, after all the sessions and the exposure, basically, that you are about to have. Imagine the impact that you will be having very soon. So with that, I will have more of these facts and figures for you later at the end of the SDG Innovation Challenge, for you to appreciate all the great things that we are about to do with this event. Then again, at this point, I'm sure you are itching to know more about what we're about to do, what is going to happen. So I'm going to pass over the mic to Lars, who's going to talk us through what the SDG Innovation Challenge is and what makes it so special. Over to you, Lars.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Sonali. And welcome everybody also from my side. My name is Lars Dietzel. I'm Director of Collaboration and Transformation with the Med Foundation, calling from Santiago, Chile, South America. I'm a little behind in time, but I'm super, super, super excited to be one of the co-hosts accompanying you throughout the upcoming 48 Hours Innovation Marathon and the phases after that come with the SDG Innovation Challenge. Now, what is the SDG Innovation Challenge? 2 things before I go into detail. You see this beautiful slide with all sorts of emojis and writing, etc. This is an invitation. We want to connect. Unfortunately, Zoom and the virtual space is only as active as we make it. So here I wanted to reiterate also the invitation to, if you can join us on camera, if you would want to use the chat, if you would give us, or give each other, the occasional thumbs up, thumbs down, smiley faces, that helps to create also momentum and creates the energy that we need in order to thinking of this bigger picture and, meeting our purpose in the first place that we're here for, to being more intentional about the SDG impact that we're making with our work. And this is really where I want to applaud you, because this is exactly what the SDG Innovation Challenge is all about. We invited, when we opened applications, we invited young African entrepreneurs and innovators to join us, to join the SDG Innovation Challenge, to become part of the space, to pivot your early stage startup or project for SDG impact. Now, what does that mean? Eric already mentioned you span ample SDGs, and then there's always the challenge that comes with, how can we do things more intentionally? How can we do things differently? How can we be more tailored towards moving the SDGs forward and accomplishing, really contributing to the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, which are very, very, very ambitious and needed goals that come to a close by 2030, actually. Shortly after this SDG Innovation Challenge, the UN will be meeting the Summit of the Future. Beautiful opportunity also for you to create more visibility, because we will be connecting this. But hey, let's stay with the basics first. So the SDG Innovation Challenge is a continuity of different activities and different also approaches for you to innovate, for you to consolidate, for you to create visibility, to connect also on a global platform, to get visibility and global credibility also into the project, to become better, to become more intentional, become more SDG oriented, and essentially at the end pitch that process, pitch that transformative journey and the transformation that you are also making in your project to our panel of judges, and unlock. Some of you may unlock the award. So we have 3 phases, really. One is the 48 Hours Innovation Marathon coming up this Thursday, 1 p.m. GMT. Please remember, GMT is, some would call it Ghana Mean Time, others call it Greenwich Mean Time. But the thing is, we're using GMT, which is the West African time zone, as a reference time zone. So if you're not in Ghana or in any of the time zones or in the countries that follow these time zone, please pay attention that GMT is the times that we're using to pace process. It might be a different time in your country. Africa spans, if I'm not mistaken, three time zones, maybe even 4. And there is always a time zone converter that comes with the announcements also, and comes also with the times that we indicate, so that you can also double check, is GMT my time zone or am I in a different time zone? We get to this. So 48 hours starting 1 p.m. GMT. Innovation. It will be tough. It will be a little messy. It will be intense. It will be an opportunity for you to really be on your toes with your teams together, to unpack the work that you're doing, look at it differently, and come up with proposals and solutions how to become more intentional with the SDGs. You conclude the 48 hours with a beautiful, there will be a workbook. We talk about these details later. And also you will present a video that talks about the work you do in your project and how you contribute to the SDGs. And that takes us into the People's Choice Campaign. People's Choice Campaign is an opportunity to get your project, your initiative out on a massively global scale. People Choice Campaigns is connected to the Global Goals Week, which is hosted by UN Foundation, happening at the same time as all the UN delegates meet in New York for the Future of the Summit. There's a lot of buzz, a lot of visibility, and part of also our commitment with the SDG Innovation Challenge and your commitment also as SDG practitioners is creating this visibility, how young people, young Africans like you are, contribute already to SDG impact, make SDG impact, and take action on the SDG. This is a prime opportunity to get visibility, and we gamify it a little bit. You know, it's a campaign, and we want you also to catch a few votes, because there will be one People's Choice champion recognized as the most voted for project that will be awarded also with a little recognition at the award ceremony. We then, from the visibility campaign, so to say, we go into incubation and mentoring. Remember, in the Innovation Marathon, which is coming up now, you identify the space where you can improve, where you can become better, where you can become more intentional around the SDGs. You use the space then to create visibility, create awareness for the project and the work you do towards the SDGs. And incubation and mentoring then is a structured phase where we provide you with tools, methods, resources, know-how to consolidate the work, to improve and move your startup and your project forward, so that essentially then, once you're done, once you're through, you can pitch exactly that innovation, that process, that difference that you have kind of brought forth as part of the SDG Innovation Challenge, and how you pivot SDG impact to our judging panel, and the judges will then define who will be the award-winning teams of the SDG Innovation Challenge 2024. All of that starting on September 12th through to December 14th. So we're talking 3 months of SDG Innovation Challenge, different phases, different stages. The process really to invite you and your teams and SDG practitioners worldwide to take actions to become more intentional, to become more meaningful, and sustain the work you do differently. Now, what makes the SDG innovation special? Well, very clearly, we are convening everybody here around the theme of bridging social innovation gaps, propelling youth-led innovation for sustainable development. A beautiful theme. It is very overarching, and I guess you have already answered our call by applying, by being here, by really looking for the space to be challenged, to work with different people, to connect with, you know, a community of practitioners, of SDG practitioners around Africa. Eric mentioned it earlier, we have a huge spread around geographically in terms of who is part of this. So beyond, you know, pivoting your own idea, think of it as an opportunity also to connect with, to grow your networks, to become more transformational, to make connections to other people, and be kind and share some of these golden nuggets and some of these insights, because SDGs essentially require for us to become more supportive and more collaborative in a friendly way. The focus areas that we're here and we are representing is energy and carbon reduction, health and well-being, food and nutrition, education, and WASH, meaning water, sanitation, and hygiene. Eric mentioned it also, all of these areas are being covered by all of you in different ways, different forms, which is beautiful. We are looking at, you know, very clearly SDG Innovation Challenge is a people's first approach. There will be a lot of spaces for you to connect. We will be in touch. There will be a lot of Zoom session also to engage, to build connections, to support you as much as possible in this space. And the invitation goes back to you, of course, also to be outspoken, to look out for each other, to think of, you know, people first, planet first, humanity first. And that also is an invitation to, you know, strengthen our commitment to the SDGs, so that we actually go beyond business as usual and focus on sustainable approaches over our economic gains. The part of also what we're doing, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, is very clearly what makes it special is it's about cross-boundary collaboration. So we're really looking also to create spaces. We experienced earlier with the icebreaker, very tiny spaces, but also an invitation for you to go beyond your team, to look out for what other people are doing, how we can do things differently, what we can learn with each other, from each other, about each other, and how that all can influence the work we do, so that it becomes lesser about, again, as I said earlier, making the profit to ourselves, but really creating this additional value in the communities that we are part of. We're looking to connect and empower youth. Very clearly, we're here connecting SDG practitioners Africa-wide, creating opportunity for collaboration, cooperation, over competition. Very clearly, the focus, and we also want to invite everybody to embrace our values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Be mindful that this is a space of diversity, and we've heard it earlier already. Language is one of these diversities, and will certainly, as Sonali said, look out for this. So keep everybody honest, and sometimes, you know, structures are not in place, and it falls on us to make this little difference. So the invitation's always there. Let's keep an eye out for each other, make sure that we all can successfully go through the process, go through the SDG Innovation Challenge together. We're looking to develop capacity very clearly, and want you to support as much as possible along the way, introducing methods, tools for SDG practitioners to become more intentional in their or in your sustainable development work. We practice skills in areas such as design thinking, systems thinking, project management, team development, analytical skills, collective leadership, and much more. So all of this beyond, you know, what goes into your project also stays with you as an opportunity to, you know, grow your professional capacity just as much and take this back into your communities, into your teams, etc. And very clearly, our action framework, TPS, team, problem, solution, sounds very straightforward, very simple. We'll talk about this in just a bit. And thank you so much for the beautiful decorations. This is an invitation to everybody, of course, to help us decorate the slides, which is perfectly in order. I have just one more slide to go, and then I hand over to, oh no, I think it's 2 more slides. Anyway, what is that not so secret sauce that we're talking about? Well, the SDG Innovation Challenge, again, we called for you guys, you people, your SDG practitioners who are already kind of in that space. You're bringing your solutions. You're in the process of consolidating, testing, putting, prototyping, whatever that is. You're in an early stage of your startup and project, and that is a beautiful, beautiful space to, you know, again, take an intentional step back and look at how are we actually doing on the SDGs? How are we doing with what we do, and how do we further sustainable development? And this is exactly where this place comes in, and I applaud you all for making these decisions, for applying, for being here. And we are really thrilled to accompany the 50 innovation teams who have made it through our competitive selection process and will be then starting the initial phase of the SDG Innovation Challenge, the 48 Hours Innovation Marathon. And here you will unpack your startup project to work to pivot your SDG impact. You can expect to learn to deploy impact tools, look at given challenges from different perspectives, contribute to team efficiency, channel creative energy into refining your impact work to, again, bridging social innovation gaps and propelling youth-led innovations for sustainable development. Now, when we look at entrepreneurship, so one of the things that, of course, we want to also tap into is the notion of entrepreneurship, and also how we understand and how we bring that entrepreneurship forth through our projects in our communities and in you who are here. Well, traditionally, entrepreneurship was understood as an act of starting a new business or scaling for profit, creating business capital. And I guess you already kind of noticed the tension here, in the sense that if we want to go beyond business as usual, we also want to challenge the notion of entrepreneurship a little bit, because this is a rather narrow definition, which leaves out important dimensions of entrepreneurship, that it is a way of thinking, that it is a mindset over creating profit. And this is exactly where the SDG Innovation Challenge kind of adds a little bit of this flavor at the secret sauce, because more than setting up a business, we want you all to understand entrepreneurship also as that mindset and as that way of thinking, which is about innovation, which is about holistic approaches, which is about the ability to see problems as opportunities and about changing the world. So this is really the invitation one that I would like to make, thinking you are all entrepreneurs and think of it as an opportunity to make the systems that we're part of better. Now, talking about social innovation is another thing. And here we're talking about social innovation in essence. Usually, when we talk about innovation, it's a combination of existing and new elements. Innovation is not, forget about the unicorn ideas, they exist, but they're the fewest and are probably the ones that are the most unlikely. Social innovations are those things where we combine things. And here also this space can become such a rich space for you to get inspired to share what maybe seems the most natural or the most normal thing for you to do, and share this with others also, because that can trigger a very different way of thinking, where something existing meets something new, combined, this becomes an innovation. And this could be how a specific problem could be analyzed, how processes are organized, new policies or laws, different use of technologies, new relations between social groups, and so on. Social innovation is about, you know, is not to be about being something entirely new or creating something entirely new, but it is an opportunity to connect, to combine, and to contribute an innovative element to something existing and bring people along, bring you along, and move everybody forward in a way that is innovative. And last but not least, global citizenship, which also is the third invitation to us as a framework that defines how persons, people engage with the world, its inhabitants, and other living creatures. And quite frankly, as we're all sharing that space, and by recognizing our world as a complex web of connections and interdependencies, global citizenship acknowledges that personal choices that we make, and actions that we make or not make, have repercussions for all living beings, locally, regionally, and globally. It nurtures personal respect and respect for others, wherever we may live, others may live, and it promotes social responsibility, global competence, and civic engagement across digital and physical spaces. So these are really the three invitations I would like to make. Think of yourself as an entrepreneur with that mindset, with that desire to change things. Think of yourself as a social innovator. We don't expect you to do something completely new, but look at the small pieces that once you move a little lever, and the impact that it can create. We're here to become more intentional on SDG, on our SDG impact, and the invitation to consider yourselves as global citizens by taking collective care of the planet and the people that we're forming part of. And your decisions make all the difference. And you have made the right decision to be here. So again, applaud you on this end. And last but not least, why we do this, it says it all on the slide. This is the sustainable, this is really also where the sustainable development goals, the SDGs, come in, which were adopted by the UN in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, to protect planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. Now it's 2024, we have 6 more years to go, and I think we all know where we stand with the SDGs. There's a lot of work to be done. And SDG Innovation Challenge is also this invitation to look at things differently, to not approach the problems from the same space that were created on, and really focus on that creativity, on that energy, on that drive that you all bring to the space to encompass different ways of doing things, different ways. Will we make mistakes? Yes, of course. But we wouldn't want to make the same mistakes again, but different mistakes. And this is really an invitation that comes with this SDG Innovation Challenge to you to approach problems from, the space of creativity, from the space of diversity, from the space of collectiveness, sharing. I like to say this often, sharing is caring. And if we care about the planet and also the sustainable development goals, then welcome to this place and space, and make it your own, really, to thrive for you, yourself, your project, your communities, and all of our projects and communities that we represent. And I think with that said, I shall hand back over to Eric with exactly that.
Thank you so much, Lars. Guys, it's now time to look at what the SDG Innovation success would look like and what the journey is, basically. So first of all, talking about success, okay, before we can get anywhere forward, SDG Innovation Challenge success in the next 48 hours, what would this mean? To create a space and foster cross-boundary collaboration. Just as Lars mentioned, this is a team-based challenge. You need to work together. You need to work in conjunction with other participants as well. This is not a competition. It's more for collaboration and cooperation. So please be on the lookout to create cross-boundary collaboration, which is very, very important for the success of the SDG Innovation Challenge. and again, to further capacity building and leadership development. Please use this as an opportunity to connect, to network, to grow as individuals, to grow as entrepreneurs, to grow as social innovators, as young Africans, basically, caring about the future of the continent. This is very, very important. Lars also mentioned that we are not expecting you to do something new. We are not expecting you to do something out of the ordinary, but we would like you to think of the problems that we have in Africa, or the problems that you are currently tackling in the fresh approach. Trigger fresh thinking, let it emerge, a new way of doing things. Have you thought about doing it this way? These are some of the successes that we would like to see out of the SDG Innovation Challenge in the next 48 hours, from the 12th to the 14th, and beyond as well, which we'll get to. These are some of the success points that we would like to see, basically. And finally, to advance the sustained livelihoods through youth accountability. It is very, very important as young people that we take matters into our own hands. We take responsibility for our actions. We do something. We contribute to the sustainable development of the African continent. And what are some of the things that we have put in place, or are going to be putting in place, to make sure that your projects, all final projects, all finalist teams that make it to the end of the SDG Innovation Challenge have access to, or are able to appreciate, basically? First of all, is going to be the project showcase and spotlight, pro bono mentorship, funding recommendations, industry experience placements, project visitation and inspection, monitoring and evaluation consultation, access to our SDG Innovation Fund, access to fundraising opportunities, access to fiscal sponsorship services, and of course, a showcase at the African Youth SDG Summit in 2025. How do we get there? Now we need to look at the journey to this process. We're going to look at the SDG Innovation journey at this point. Awesome. So from kickoff to submission of your innovation ideas, 48 hours, followed by a roundup session to compress, to look at all the things that you need to do. There are going to be 6 stages, basically. Each stage has 5 working hours. 9 hours are not considered, and each stage comes with 1 live session on Zoom, just as we are having here. We are going to be pacing the process. We're going to be pacing your progress. We will provide you with a workbook, and we will be in touch regularly with pointers to where you should be at each point in time. No need to rush in the 48 hours that we're about to have. It's not about how fast you conclude the process, but how transformative you can become as a result of the process. And of course, do each activity thoroughly. You're going to be launching, like I said, they're going to be launching 6 stages. So please make sure that you go through each stage thoroughly. Be open to challenging yourselves and your projects. Be intentional, which is very, very important. And by 11 a.m. GMT on 14th September, all teams must upload their submission documents, which is a field workbook and a 2-minute project presentation about SDG impact potential of your projects, to be able to qualify to the next phase, which is the People's Choice campaign. At this point, we did mention something a little bit. Lars did mention something about the TPS framework, and I'll call on my colleague Sonali to give us a little bit more insight into what the TPS framework means.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Eric. I hope all of you are still staying with us. We want to give you all the information right now so that you're fully equipped to start the 48 hours in phase 1 of the SDG Innovation Challenge. And you will see that the 48 hours have been mapped out by us over the years. It has gone through also some iterations, but we have finally arrived at, I would, in my opinion, a successful version of it, for which we tested out last year and in this year as well, which is our team problem solution framework. So we will talk a little bit about the different stages in the process. But before we jump into that, I want to invite you on this journey a little bit, because it paces the way we go through the 48 hours. And it's pretty self-explanatory in its sense. We're going to follow team, problem, and solution. And these three phases as such will be split into 6 thematic modules. You don't have to memorize any of this. We've got your back. We will be sending updates and emails and Slack messages to keep you along the way. But if you're particularly interested already, I'd invite you to look out at our event schedule, which shows you exactly when the different stages launch. And these stages have been designed in such a way that first, we really want to focus on your team. We want to take steps together to deep dive into your team and really transform your team into an innovation team for the challenge. We know that you've probably already been working together over the years, but I think in this kind of setup, it may be also important to take a step back and look at the team that is joining, establish your purpose for the challenge, your goals, how you function together, and also discover something new in how you work together to harness your diversity and perspectives in your team as well. Once we focused on the team, we then want to move into the problem stage where we want to unravel and look deeper into the dynamics of the issues you are all tackling, connecting them to the sustainable development goals, and while doing so, also using some pretty cool technologies, methodologies out there, such as design thinking, systems thinking, complexity analysis, and a plethora of tools that we have access to, but we have curated in a way that guides you along this process. And when you've done with the problem and deep diving into the problem, we will shift gears to finally begin ideating, rethinking our solutions, reassembling all our thoughts, and then submitting these revised solutions that you have consolidated in the past 48 hours, and you've drawn inspiration from that, everything that you kind of explored together in the previous stages. Our hope is that by using this team problem and solution framework, you will be empowered to rethink your solution ideas, tasks, activities, products that you're all working on through a much more holistic lens. And our main invitation for you all is to take a step back, try to incorporate your multiple fresh perspectives, and try to see beyond your initial assumptions. So that we can also use this challenge a little bit like a boot camp to identify any blind spots that you may have overlooked and maybe slightly pivot or shift focus. Because at the Melton Foundation and also with our partner organizations, all of us deeply believe that diverse viewpoints and challenging your original thinking can really infuse fresh energy and innovation into your work. So this process is not just about refining your solutions, it's about revitalizing your approach to problem solving and ensuring that the impact that you create is both sustainable and also inclusive in the long run. So we hope this framework will help you to push the boundaries a little bit about what's possible and drive forward your ideas that are not only effective, but also transformative. And back to you, Eric.
Right. Thank you so much, Sonali. So now let's talk about the innovation pipeline. We are here today at the participants onboarding. That needs no explanation at all. In a few days, in 2 days, we're going to be kicking off the SDG Innovation Challenge from the 12th of September. Okay. And at that point, that is what we talked about stages that we are going to be. It's very important for us to mute ourselves when we are not speaking at this stage. All right. Thank you. Great. So like I was saying, 48 hours innovation marathon, like 9 hours are not counted. Each stage has 5 hours dedicated to it for the ideation marathon. Then from the 18th, 19th to the 30th of September, we're going to have something called the People's Choice Contest or People's Choice Campaign in collaboration with the Global Goals Week. So during that week, it's going to be the Global Goals Week. This is the week where supercharged SDG focused initiatives all come together, pool resources, pool our visibility together to showcase all the amazing projects that are happening around the SDGs during that week. So luckily, from the 18th to the 30th of September, the People's Choice campaign is going to be happening. And what do you have to do as participants of the SDG Innovation Challenge for this? Innovation teams who have successfully concluded and made it to the final stage of the SDG Innovation Challenge will take the next crucial step in furthering awareness for their project ideas emerging from the challenge and the SDGs in general by creating visibility. Visibility is very, very important for this stage of the SDG Innovation Challenge. From 19th September, 6 p.m. GMT to the 30th of September, 6 p.m. GMT, all of you that are you participants, you belonging to the respective teams that make it to the end of the SDG Innovation Challenge, have the challenging task of circulating your video pitch in your networks on social media. The video pitches will be available on the Melting Foundation's designated YouTube channel, and each team will have their own unique link. The goal is to get as many votes.
And I guess there was some connectivity issues along the way. So stepping in to rescue. What Eric was about to say is that the goal is to, of course, as part of the campaign, to get as many votes as possible, get people to support your project, get people to show the support for your project. That's exactly what we're looking for here with this campaign. We want to create this awareness together with also our partners, colleagues, of the Global Goals Week, to create visibility for youth-led SDG action, SDG impact, and also think of it as a way for you in your project, you with your startup, you with your community that you bring and represent, also to create visibility for the work on a global platform. Gives fantastic opportunity to talk about what you're doing, what you intend to do, great visibility, also tap in that credibility that comes with you being here, kind of this added value, so to say, on this platform that you could hopefully also hone as you develop your impact solution going forward. And I think that concludes also the People's Choice campaign, which then takes us into the incubation and mentoring phase. So once you successfully complete the 48 hours innovation marathon, you see it's a pipeline, no? We hope that everybody stays with us until the very end, but experience tells some people may drop out along the way, which is hence makes it a pipeline. There's different stages, different steps. All of that are designed for you to become better and more intentional and more visible also in that space of SDG impact. That's what we're proposing, that's what we're offering, and that's what we hope to do. So the next and third phase of the SDG Innovation Challenge is incubation and mentoring, which starts in early October. There's a small mistake here on the slides. It's 3rd of October through the 10th of December. And this is a phase where you would go through a structured process where we, together with our partners at Sense, provide tools, methods, know-how to consolidate your project, your startup, for it to become to have the operational frameworks in place, and also to be, quote unquote, more investor ready, so that you can have the impact and sustain also the impact on the SDGs and further livelihoods in your communities. At the end of the incubation and mentoring phase, the last session will be pitch practice session. So at the end, everybody has a chance to present to our panel of judges on the 14th of December, the pitch contest. You will have between 3 to 5 minutes. We will see what time windows we can actually make available, depending on, of course, on how many teams make it through to the end. But here the invitation is your best pitch that focuses on the SDG impact that you're having to the panel of judges.
Hello?
I can hear somebody there. Please remember to mute. Thank you so much. So the 14th of December is when we're concluding everything with our pitching contest. Panel of judges will be there to assess and evaluate your pitch. and hence through your pitch, also the process and the progress you've made as part of the SDG Innovation Challenge.
Hello?
To eventually come to what I think most of us are most excited about, the award ceremony, which concludes the pitching contest on the 14th of September. So there is an award, there will be prizes at the end. I think we have a slide talking about this later. But for the time being, let's take a quick look at how that works, how we get everybody to get from A to B. We mentioned a couple of things earlier, but this is now the opportunity to look at it in detail. Quick shout out to everybody. The session's being recorded. We know it's a lot of information, so you can always go back also to the recording. And B, if there's any questions along the way, don't be shy, please. You can raise your hand at some point. Note down your questions. We have a Q&A at the end, and also use the chat to see if there's anything that we should address immediately. And with that said, I hand over to Sonali for how this actually works.
Thank you so much, Lars. And yes, we're able to do this challenge together with all of you because of technology and the wonders of this virtual infrastructure that where we have set up. But having said that, there are also several limitations. So like Lars mentioned, please do post any of your questions on our chat. And if you're having any challenges with the technology, you can always ping one of us and we will try to help you out as best as we can. So coming back to the innovation marathon, like I mentioned before, we have team problem solution, and we're going to pace this 48 hours by sending out emails on our mailing channel. So make sure that all of you are on our mailing channel. The first 2 emails have been sent to the mailing channel as well as your private emails. So make sure you say, when you see the 2 in the email, it says SDG Innovation Challenge at meltonfoundation.org, and that is the mailing channel that you should be on. The 48 hours have been divided into different stages. Each stage is going to be 5 hours each. And the stages that we're going to go through are team building, systems thinking and complexity, or systematize, as we like to call it. Then we have empathize, we have define, we have ideate and validate, and then finally we have consolidate and present. This is again available in our event schedule, so please do check it out. Because also the timings for the launch of the different sessions, the different Zoom sessions that we're going to have, the times where you can work on your activities in your groups is all mentioned there. One thing to note is that like Lars mentioned, we're really spread across several time zones. So some of the announcements may be a little bit early for some of the folks, some of the announcements may be a little bit late for some, but the 48 hours is really adaptable to you all. So use the hours as you choose to. And while doing that, just try to stay within the stages as we launch, because we don't want you to zoom too far ahead or stay stuck in stage 1 while we're in stage 3 perhaps, and stay with the pacing that we will announce on the mailing channel as also on Slack, so that all of us move forward together. You will also know exactly what you have to do when, and also what resources we have provided for you, etc. Because this time we have created our team problem solution workbook. So this workbook will read pretty much like a workbook that we have in some maybe very cool academic institutions, because we're not super theoretical. We're really focusing on the practical and the connecting and the interacting. But each stage will come with a small packet of a video resource, a little bit of a reading, and an activity that goes with that stage. And all of this information is going to be inside your workbook, and you will have access to the full workbook right at the start of the 48 hours. So you will know exactly what's coming up. And we invite you to read the materials, to view the videos, and work on the worksheets together. This workbook is going to be available on our shared Google Drive folder. So the same place where you have your event schedule, the ground rules, the virtual infrastructure. We will also have a link for the workbook. You will have to download this workbook so that you all have, each team has a copy of it, and then answer or input the information into the workbook and the worksheets as a team together. Because at the end of the challenge, you will have to upload this workbook so that the organizers and judges in the future and auditors will be able to see that you have completed the challenge in its entirety, which means completing all the different tasks in the different stages. So I'm pretty sure once you see the workbook, you will have a clear understanding, but if questions do arise, please feel free to write to us so we can also clarify. And the main platform that we will use for you to communicate with us, for us to also communicate with you, and for all of us participants to communicate with each other, maybe share some, funny anecdotes, how it's going, what your progress is going to be Slack. Quickly going to show you how we have divided up the channels. So that's coming up next. But we will be using Slack for quick pings, reminders, things like, hey, our Zoom room is opening in the next 10 minutes. See you there. So make sure that you are on Slack so that we can all be in this challenge together. Next up is our live sessions. Just like this onboarding session, we have multiple live sessions throughout the 48 hours where you get to interact with advisors, with organizers, with each other. Some are more related to thematic elements, some are more related to just sharing, bonding, networking. So we have a wide spread, and all those Zoom sessions will happen at the same Zoom link that you're using right now. And this Zoom link will also be shared by email and on Slack and is available in our virtual infrastructure. If you miss some of the Zoom sessions, we will be uploading the recording, also the recording of this very onboarding, into our designated playlist on YouTube, and that link will also be sent to you. So this may seem like a lot, like, oh, there's this Zoom, there's Slack, there's YouTube, but all of this information is there in our virtual infrastructure. And we are under no assumption that this is going to be perfectly streamlined, because part of innovation is also being a little bit messy. It's a fast-paced event. We have so many participants. We're all working on different things, and that's the beauty of it. So go with the flow and use the help channel on Slack to ask for any help along the way. Okay, I'm looking at the time, and I think we have a little bit of time available. So I'm going to quickly try to share my screen and show you how Slack looks like. You will be sent a link to join Slack very shortly. And when you join, this is what you will see. So Lars, if I can share my screen. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so I have multiple tabs open as this is the background of what's happening, but I hope you can see my Slack now. If someone can give me a thumbs up. Perfect. Okay. So when you join Slack, it's going to look exactly like this. It's a very flexible platform. You can download it onto your mobile devices, which we highly recommend so that you can send quick messages, connect with your teams, etc. Or you can also use it on the web platform or on the web app. What you're seeing now is the web app. So it's a Slack app for a laptop. And when it's going to look similar on most devices. So when you join Slack, you will see that we already have preloaded it with messages so that you know exactly what's what and where's where. I'd invite you to first start with creating your profile, because we need to see who's who and be able to connect with each other. And it's very simple to do that. On the bottom left corner, you will see your icon. If you click that, it opens a menu. And in the menu, you will have to click again on profile. And when you open profile, it shows you your profile page. And this is very customizable. As you can see on the left side, several of my colleagues have already added pictures. You can also add a picture in a time of, data security that you're also comfortable with, and you would like to be recognized by. These are my hopes. I hope I look like this image. I think it's better than the reality. Yes, have fun with it, and use the platform. To edit your profile, you will have to click on the edit link. It should open up where you can add your full name, the name that you would like to be displayed, any titles, and also your pronouns if you would like to mention them, and your time zone, so that when people message you, they'll know which time zone you're in. And to upload your photo, you will just have to click on this button that says upload and add a photo. And finally, don't forget to save your changes so that your Slack profile is linked. And this is very accessible, because if you see that another participant has messaged on one of the channels and you want to connect with them, just go hover over their name. For example, if I click on Lars's name here, it will allow me to message him directly or get on a very quick call with him. So that's pretty cool as well. As organizers, we will not be able to take calls because we are also spread on multiple time zones, but you can always send us a quick message. But you can use the call function to speak to each other within the teams or connect with each other from different teams, perhaps. Now coming on to the channels, as you can see, Lars has been wonderful to set up the introductions here on what each channel is. We have an announcement channel. This is that organizers can only send messages here. So you can reply to it, or you can thumbs up or share emoticon related to it, but you will not be able to send any messages on this channel, so that we can keep it clean, and that if there was any announcement made, you can always refer back to this channel. Our second channel, which you can navigate to on this toolbar on the left, is our help channel. So if you click help here, you can post your question, send it. One of our organizers will see it and will respond to you to connect further. And we have our peer support channel to really connect and engage with each other beyond your innovation team. If you're, for example, from Ghana and you want to discuss with a team from Uganda, perhaps post it here. Hey, I'm looking how this solution is being tackled in Uganda. Can somebody share? And someone can respond to you or connect you to some resources, or you can connect beyond this on LinkedIn and WhatsApp. So this is an initial offering that we have for you all to connect with each other. We have an SDG fun channel, because it's not all work in the SDG Innovation Challenge. It's also a fun place to be. So this is for funny memes or images or videos that you have found related to the SDGs or the work you do. Because being social innovators and community work is sometimes also very challenging, and we need to keep a light thread to push each other, motivate each other through it. We have one channel that is very specific to the team leads. So only the team leads will be added to this channel, so that the organizers can coordinate with the different teams. And that's about it with regards to the channels. You can also message people directly by clicking on their names on the left. And please make sure for any help from the organizers to use the help channel, because just like you, someone else may have the exact same doubt, and your question can help clarify that to multiple teams. And while doing that, you also have the option to add and create new channels. So you can make a channel for your own team. So you can connect with each other and use Slack and experiment with it. And perhaps it's something that you will continue to use in your startups or your projects. Okay, so that's a little bit about Slack. And coming back to our slides, we really want to encourage you to really embrace the diversity that we have in this group. That's why we have the SDG Fund channel, we have the peer support channel, because all of you are from so many multiple disciplines, multiple geographies, cultures, backgrounds, and all your approaches are also super novel, and we really want to encourage you to connect especially considering, 21st of September coming up is the International Day of Peace. And as we see the conflicts increasing in the world and people pitted against each other, this is a space for us to connect, to do something good and positive together. So this whole challenge is about collaboration over competition. We really, really encourage you to take the opportunity to connect beyond your team, share ideas, insights, using the channels or in our calls that will enhance everyone's work. And in this, innovation space that we have, the power of this cross-pollination of ideas is really immense. And by exchanging perspectives, we can build resilience into your solutions. You can make them stronger. You can make them more adaptable. So let's harness this power. It's not really about what you can achieve on your own, but about how we can all grow and innovate together within the SDG Innovation Challenge and beyond. So reach out, collaborate, and let's create something extraordinary together.
Hi. And with that, I'm back again. Some of you may have noticed that in the middle of my speech, I was cut off. And you would also attest to the fact that the moment I was no longer on the call, a team member, which I don't know who yet, was able to step in and of course, it's always last, was able to step in and continue where I stopped. That is one of the things we want to talk to you about at this point, giving you some tips on how to be more successful as a team, as participants for the SDG Innovation Challenge. It is very important that you harness the collaborative spirit of this event. Make sure that you are there for your team members. Make sure that you are there for other teams as well. We do have a lot of diversities here. We do have people living with disabilities. If you can offer help, translation services to someone that speaks a different language that you can speak, please go ahead and do that to make this event a success for each and every team. Then again, at this point, in the beginning of the call, we did something, but I don't think we were able to do it properly. So we're going to try doing it again. I want us all to use the Zoom reactions, okay? Not in the chat, the Zoom reactions. So we can take a good picture of the excitement that we have in the room. So at this point, again, I would ask us all, which emoji describes your mood right now? How excited? How sad? What kind of mood are you in at the moment? So that we can take a picture.
And actually,
use the Zoom.
So sorry, Eric, to interrupt. I just also wanted to use this opportunity and to invite everybody who can to join us in camera, because then we see all our beautiful faces and yes, thank you so much. Join us, please do. And then we do a little countdown so that we can all do our favorite reaction together. And then we have a beautiful memory souvenir, however you want to call it, from today's call, and get ready for Thursday. Sorry, Eric, to interrupt. Back to you.
All right, so we're going to be getting lots of that from Lars and the others on the team. We are a team, we work together. This is fun. And just as Lars said, if you are able to come on camera at this moment, it doesn't matter where you are, just come on camera and use this countdown, okay? So in 3, 2, 1, show us your Zoom reactions, please. Zoom emojis. Go ahead. While we take a good picture. Great. I think we have our pictures at this moment, right? Awesome. Now, back to the tips, okay, for participation in the SDG Innovation Challenge. First of all, it's very, very important that you provide us with your emails, the correct emails, okay? We're going to be sending you an email with a DEI survey that you need to complete, okay? Each and every member of all the teams. It is not based on team. Every member of your team, every member of the SDG Innovation Challenge must fill that form individually, okay? So if you have not received an email from us, it means that we may have gotten an incorrect email from your application. So please send your emails in the chat so that we can take note of those emails that are missing so that we can send you that email that has all the information that you need. Secondly, if you've already received an email, please make sure that you complete the DI survey. It's very important that we have this down. Complete the DI survey. Make sure that your team members complete the DI survey as well. Please remember that the SDG Innovation Challenge, you need to be a team, you need to have 4 to 7 people in your team. So unfortunately, if you don't have 4 people representing your team, it would be very, very difficult for you to move on to the next stage of the SDG Innovation Challenge. So in the next few days or by the end of tomorrow, please make sure that you send in your correct emails. Make sure that you complete the DEI survey. Each member of your team does that. Then again, another tip for success is that please make sure that you change your Zoom names to your actual names, okay? It's important for us to be able to address you by your names because we will need to be putting you in groups, we need to be putting you in sessions, in breakout rooms. We would love to address you by your proper name. So please make sure that you join with your actual name on Zoom rather than the phone name and other nicknames that you may have on Zoom. Next, please keep track of time and manage your time well. Pay attention to detail without getting too deep into the rabbit hole. I want to reiterate that it's going to get a little bit messy. It's going to get a little bit confusing and challenging sometimes. But that is why Slack is available. That is why we are on the Slack channel as well. If you need help, just send a message onto the help channel. And I'm sure not even us, but a member of your team or another team would be able to give you the information that you need. Then again, we've mentioned it multiple times. You'll be receiving emails through the mailing list. You'll be receiving announcements on Slack, which will have all the information that you need. All you need to do is make sure you pay attention to the details and read these announcements as little or as cumbersome as they may be. You need to pay attention to all of these things, okay? Please make sure that you collaborate beyond this competition. Like I said, this is not a competition. It is a collaboration space. There are other teams competing for some prizes, for some incentives. But yet again, we are working together towards the SDGs. So this is not a place to say, I want to do better than the other team. No, we are all working together collectively to achieve the SDGs as well. So on the 12th, which is on Thursday at 3:30 GMT, we would have our team building workshop. It is important that you attend this session, and we will ask all of you to check the participants directory to find your group number. Okay, we will be sending all of these information in an email. So if you hear something that we've not really talked about, you would get to understand what they are later. So basically, you would have a list of all the participants in the SDG Innovation Challenge, and we're going to be assigning you with group numbers to make it easier, as well as your group names to make it easier to identify members of groups. So make sure that you identify your group number before you come to the meeting, because we'll be putting you in a breakout group, or we'll be using your team names to put you in a breakout group. This is very, very important. Then before I log off, or before I invite us all to have a quick 10 minutes Q&A, if you have questions or suggestions or have comments on what we've done, it is very important that we send all our inquiries on Slack rather than the mailing list. So please note that when you reply to the mailing list, it goes to everybody on that chain. So there are about 250 people on the mailing list. So if you have an inquiry, when we send you the announcements through email, you don't need to reply to the email. Even if it's just to confirm receipts, you don't need to do that. Once you receive the email, please go ahead and read it. Each member of each team is going to receive it. So you don't need to check with your team leads if they've received it. You just need to check your email and make sure that you have those emails. And please do not reply to the mailing list. If you have any inquiry, any problem, please come on Slack and use the help channel to communicate your concerns. Then finally, we have 10 more minutes for a Q&A, question and answer. If there are any questions that you may have for us as organizers, if there are any suggestions that you may have for the subsequent sessions that are about to unfold, like I said in the beginning of the call, use the Zoom hand to raise your hand. Please wait until your turn to speak. So if you have any questions, please raise up your hand and I will be happy to call on you to speak. All right. Does this mean we did an excellent job? It means it says a lot. Oh, wow. Theophilus. All right, Theophilus, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening,
Yeah,
good morning.
good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Theophilus from Nigeria. I want to say thank you. Mine is majorly not particularly a question, but just want to say thank you and to also commend the whole team at the SDG Innovation Challenge for putting this wonderful, insightful section together. Then I'll just go straight to my little question. For Slack, I don't know. Maybe I missed out. How do we get on board on Slack? Are we getting a mail that would help us or instruct us on how to get on board? Thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Theophilus. And yes, you're going to get an email inviting you to Slack. You're going to get an invite to Slack. You're going to get an email with a link that you can join on Slack. But before we do that in the next 24 hours, just take the initiative and download Slack onto your devices, onto your laptops, onto your phones in anticipation for that link. So once you have the link, once you have the invite, you just need to click on it and set up your account. All right, Caleb.
All right. In a very special way, I want to say thank you for all you've done. I have two questions. One, while you were talking about the hours for the competition, I didn't get something clearly. You said that some hours will be exempted. I heard like something like, was it ninth or night? As in ninth, as in number 9 or night hour. I didn't get that clearly.
Yes. So it's a 48-hour ideation marathon. And of course, we are in different time zones. The SDG Innovation Challenge is not going to happen whilst you are sleeping. We don't expect you to be online at the time when you're supposed to be asleep. So it's happening within a time zone that accommodates everybody. So it might be a little bit late for you, but it will not be at 2 a.m. You will not receive emails from us at 2 a.m. You will not receive invites for a meeting at 2 a.m. So their night times are not included, basically, depending on your time zone. So it might be a little bit early for some people, a little bit late for some people, just to accommodate the multiple time zones that we have across Africa.
All right. So the second question, the criteria for entering into the incubation and mentoring segment, is it going to be dependent on those who will win the People's Campaign, or everyone who completes the marathon is eligible for the mentoring and incubation session?
Yes. All you need to do is complete the SDG Innovation Challenge, the ideation marathon. You don't need to get votes. It is not going to be a short listing tool, but rather a visibility creation tool. So it makes it easier for us when you have at least 100 votes. And trust me, it's very easy to get 100 unique people to vote for your idea between your teammates. It should be very easy to get. Last year we had teams getting over 1,000 votes. Like one of the least amount of votes people got was 1,000. So it's going to be very easy for you to get 100 votes. It just shows that you are putting some effort into socializing the SDGs, creating visibility for your project, and as well as the SDG Innovation Challenge is an incentive for you to push further. It is not a tool to be used to take people out. So once you make it to the end of the 48-hour ideation marathon, submit a video. We provide you with a link. You go through the campaign. It's not a contest, it's a campaign. So we are all campaigning collectively. You are allowed to share the link of other groups if you think their project is really good among your networks as well. So it's a collaborative activity that we want to do. Does that answer your question?
Very well, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Salasi.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. I hope you're all doing well. My question is based on the team, because with my team currently, it largely consists of working individuals who would be quite unavailable during the sessions. But then for me, I'm always available. I work with them mostly in the night. So would it also work for me to go ahead like this, or are there any things in place for that?
Yeah, we understand that there are multiple schedules. There are multiple things happening whilst the SDG Innovation Challenge is taking place. All you need to do is make sure that your team is represented at every stage that is launched. Yes, you are not obliged to attend every session that we have, but it's important for every team to be represented because information will be given out. That might not be included in the announcements. We might change certain things in the meeting. We might give certain suggestions. We might give certain tips that might not be put in the announcement, might not be put on Slack for you to know. So it's very, very important that yes, you need to maintain an active group of 4 people, but your team needs to be represented by either 1 or 2, at least 2 people on the call all the time, but 4 people still need to be part of the SDG Innovation Challenge. And we need 1 person who is going to be the team lead on behalf of the team, taking all of these instructions from organizers, and in case anything changes in the submission process, because sometimes there are issues with bandwidth uploading videos, and we do have some workarounds that we come up with. So it's very important that your team is represented at every session all the time. Yeah. Nancy.
Thank you. So my question is around, I heard you mention about us as teams coming up with a pitch video. I'm wondering if the only form of campaign or is through the pitching video, there's also other alternatives. And I wanted to also know what the voting looks like. Is it just purely on YouTube, or is it on different social platforms? Could you please just elaborate more on what that
so
is?
I think there are 2 questions. We talked about the campaigning. Okay, so the videos are going to be hosted on YouTube. Okay, but you are allowed to share the link, share your campaign for votes on all platforms that you are on. It does not really matter as long as there are unique people who can vote for you or team once. Okay, you're going to be using a platform similar to what we use to accept your applications. SurveyMonkey only allows 1 vote per person, so you don't need to worry about that at all. So it's going to be used. We're going to provide you a unique link for each group or each team, where you can use this link, share it amongst your networks, and ask them to, first of all, watch the video. What do they think about your project? And go ahead to vote for you.
Maybe I quickly, oh, sorry, Eric, I'm doing it again. Second time, not the last time, I'm sure. I just want to quickly build on this, because there's also a couple of questions relating in the chat, or comments on the chat. So just wanted to point out that the video that you're creating at the end of this 48 Innovation Marathon, that will go feed into the Global Goals Week. So we want to hear about the project that you do, but it will not be, if you already have an institutional video, it will not be that. There will be specific requests that come with the production. It will not be perfect. Very clearly, it will be part of the innovation process, yes. But we want to intentionally feed into the Global Goals Week and portray the SDG impact that comes with the work you do. So that gives you also an additional platform to create the visibility, to create also, the connections that you may want to make with globalizations, regionally, locally, globally, etc., to bring attention to the work you do. So that just very clearly also the invitation. Don't think of the submission yet. Stay with the process, because the process will essentially take you to the point where you identify this is where we can and should become more intentional on the SDG impact. So this is an invitation not to breeze ahead, but to stay simple. Hence also, and because as SDG Innovation Challenge and Med Foundation, as one of the partners of the organizing consortium, we are partnering up with Global Goals Week, and the official platform for these videos to live will be the Melton Foundation Zoom, so that we get this full leverage of the Global Goals Week. So also here, you submit the videos, we will make sure they're uploaded. Eric mentioned there isn't a unique link for your video, and there is also a link to the polling of sorts, to the survey, to the feedback, where you then send your video and send the question and get people to vote on your project. Again, Eric mentioned the benchmark. The lowest benchmark is 100 votes, which is literally nothing considering the platform. But think of it that way. You really want to create visibility around your work and how it feeds into the sustainable development goals, the bigger picture. And then you can also grow that voting space or that voting potential beyond the people that you're already kind of seeing. There is an opportunity for organic growth, because it is really about creating this visibility of the incredible work. And we're saying this, you're here because we've seen over 700 applications, and all of these applications were fantastic. And the work that you do, we see a lot of value in it, with small nudges here and there to be really transformative and impactful on the SDG. So this is an invitation to really, embrace that spirit, go through the process, present this in the end. If there's challenges along the way, we have, Eric said, we have plan Bs if submissions don't work, and it's always like that. Should be video, however, because that is the best opportunity and visibility for you to create this impact through, well, to state the obvious, engaging, moving pictures.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lars.
There is just a quick address to the question in chat. Sorry, Eric.
I was just about to do that.
Oh, go for it then. Go for it.
No. Lars.
Well, we're having fun as we do this, very clearly. So the question also is about whether it's an individual video or a team video. Important is that you as a team go together through the project, because that is when the better solutions will emerge. The team video, however, we understand that depending on where you are in this moment, opportunities that you have to connect to actually create the video resources together, it may or may not be. Invitation is, however, think of the global audience that you will reach, and think also how you want to present the work that you do. Keep that in mind, and I think every other question or concern will kind of resolve itself if you think of, this is the platform and these are the people that would be seeing the video. I hope I answered these questions. And back to you, Eric. Sorry.
Yes. So there's a similar question again in the chat that I just want to touch on briefly. Just as Lars said, there may be differences in your location at that specific moment, but it's important for us to see the other members of your team. Okay. So the ideal situation would be to see all the other team members in the video, taking some parts of the video, telling us about the project or the solution that you are coming up with. But if it's impossible, pictures of your team members will be very, very important for us to see, so that we can see the diversity as well in your teams. It's very, very important that you show the diversity in your team. So whatever form of that would take, that is totally up to you.
Beautiful. Any other questions, observations, comments? We're only getting started, and we have 40, what is it? Well, 45 and a few hours to go before kickoff. And yes, we will follow up with all the informations that we just informed you about. You will soon have access to the shared folder, which will have the key resources, ground rules. We shared a couple of them already earlier in this, when we opened this call. An event flow, an event schedule, which has all the times. Remember, GMT is the reference time zone we're using. I shared earlier also, and it will also be with you, the time zone converter. Be mindful of the location that you're in. GMT, if you want, is Ghana time. Ghana makes it easy to remember. If you're further, I think further east, then check your time zone. It may not be GMT. It could be 1 hour earlier or 1 hour later, or maybe 2 or maybe 3. So very important that 1 p.m. is not 1 p.m. in all the time zones across the continent. And once we start live sessions, that means that we want to all be in the same space. Yes, we will prompt you on Slack. We will usually give you 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes before a call, a quick nudge. Hey, call is coming up, knowing that there's always confusion with the timings. But as we kind of get into the space, keep that in mind, that 1 is not always 1. It could also be 2. It could also be 3, depending on where you're joining at across the continent. Okay. And then I guess, well, if there's no more questions, Eric, then let's carry Carry us over the finishing line, huh?
All the best to each and every one of us on this call. I can see a few of us dropping off already, and I want to say a very big thank you for joining us for the last more than 90 minutes, over 100 minutes so far. Take your time, go rest, anticipate an email from us that will have all the information that you need to engage further, to join the Slack channels as well. So just go back home, relax, and you will hear from us very shortly. And with that, I would say goodbye.